to think about gods. Are they some greater mortals with mortal attributes, natures, whims, caprices, like in some mythologies? Well, imagine gods and goddesses as powers that are completely deprived of the mortal element, of mortal passions, instincts, natures, thoughts. We may speculate as Democritus that they are a whirlwind of masks, of powers that take on individuated forms. But this is merely a Parmenidean doxa. That is, we may have opinions about gods, but we will never know or claim objective truth from perspective of mortals. Of course, the first axiom of this little speech is that gods, goddesses in plurality, a pluribus unum, of divinity, exist. That leaves us with an independent ontological status of some forces, powers. We may speculate that they are diverse. That means that they are distinct from one another, the powers and forces, and that they may be either mixed or unmixed as pure forces or mixed forces. Now, taking into account the complexity of the world of nature and complexity of the cosmos, a certain order, adornment in general, from the physical objective perspective, from the biological perspective, this is a wholly diverse world. Now, it was written in Porphyrius Marcus, that gods do not contradict nature, the physis, the matter, the zoe, the life. That means that everything is inbuilt in it. That means that by understanding the world, the social sciences, the strict sciences, we may have a glimpse of the workings of nature, of the workings of physics. That's where metaphysics kicks in. We start to experience and speculate about the existence of gods, goddesses, divinities in general. Yet from this point onwards, we are left in the blind, because we cannot speculate about the existence of certain deities, entities, forces, if we do not experience them. Now, if we start experiencing them empirically, spiritually, soulfully, intellectually, by a breakthrough, by an inspiration, by a muse, like it is written, it was Diogenes, that an educated man with a correct view of things is a temple of muses. That is, the mortal is the temple of gods, wherever he moves. The steppes, the deserts are the temples. The temples that are built as sacred architecture are the houses, at least they were in the ancient times. So, my view, my doxa on the gods is that there are large ranges of certain forces and powers, originally in a very pure state, that also had their history and evolved. As the cosmos, the universe, the life started to evolve, they enfolded themselves in life, in the stars, in the planets, as for example natures of those planets. And they started diversifying their existence in individuation. The most pure and simple protean monad is the most pure and simple, let's call it, divinity. Yet it is wholly thoughtless, unless it encapsulates the whole of the universe and lives like an organism through all its modifications, pluralities, mutations, and so on. So this is the anima mundi, the hecatic world soul, that lives through the content of the universe. Now, let us speculate that there is also a reality transcendent to this universe of phenomena. Whether we take the Chaldean view of the 1, 2, 3 teletharchic realities, that up to the pari sunyata, pari nirvana, the complete emptiness, the null, null, zero, is also of great importance because it conveys that the world of the stars is also generated by much greater worlds, wholly complementary but different. The worlds that are unimpressionable in any way, unchangeable, are the closest to infinity and immortality and liberated gods and goddesses, or godhood as such, that we may ascertain in this model. Now, what about mortal gods? What about those highly advanced magical operations, the Eleusinian operation, the Amenta operation? That means that a mortal being may, in certain cases, join lowercase gods and goddesses by its pneuma and spirit, by the common thread running through anima mundi, by condensation of these forces in chaos. Yet this is also merely a mask. He joins as a mask a higher threshold of being. And what I wanted to mention is that as universe is infinite and large, observable universe, there were plenty of astralistic, biological, universal happenings, catastrophes, initiations, generations that already happened. The well of the past is infinite. And those threads didn't cease to exist. They astralistically influence within the range of operation the greater universe as such and localized pockets of entropies. For example, the solar system. So we may say that we are living in a world on Earth, in the solar system, in a world of echoes, of magnificent narrations, stories, of great threads and patterns that already happened before. And we are given this sandbox of physics to recreate those threads, and according to our species, according to our nature, according to our intellect, cognition, symbolization, language skills, and so on, that we recreate certain atavistic, resurgent atavisms in a very creative fashion, in the fantasticon of what a human mortal being is capable of performing within this world. Now, as an example, if a Greek lady in Athens and an American damsel in Los Angeles is invoking Hecate at the same time, knowing the time difference and all that, does it mean that the personified goddess Hecate arrives in both cases? No, it means that a minima of the power of the goddess Hecate in aspect of physis, ether or ignis is manifesting if successfully evoked. A miniature mask is presented to those ladies if the evocation is successful. So it's like an inverted pyramid, that here is the grand range of the force, the individuated masks. And at the very tip of it, you have the manifestation of a small figment of this force that is evoked. It doesn't always work that way, because we have more individual entities. For example, Goetia and the demons of Goetia. They have a more solid self-identity in separateness, but hence also the limit of their operations. So, when we are encountering mortals and humans on a regular basis, they are individuals, they are personas. And we like to project a lot on this personified idea upon the astral world, the fauna and flora of the astral world. And some entities may be separate and individual. Sylphs, for example, or Nereids of the sacred rivers. However, the greater the extent, range, the greater the omniscience and understanding, self-identity of a power, the less individual it is. There is little separateness in the great power, although it can coordinate itself to manifest as a little being, individuated, although it is a large field of power of a force that operates in the universe. So, of course, something like a personal god or a goddess makes it closer to our understanding and comprehension. So a person praying to Hathor in the ancient times in Egypt had a personal relation with that particular goddess. However, on the philosophical essential level of understanding, it is different, because we are not pointing toward individuals, we are pointing towards great forces. And the more we engage in such operations as void work and meditation, ceremonial magic, the more we understand that we merely render a little figment of a divine force or power in order to be an operator of magic, of theology, or goetheia, whichsoever. So, I hope that those basics elucidate more or less the way I see it, doxology. The way that many philosophers in the ancient past also seen it. I'm just bridging the affairs. Am I right? I don't know, but it works. It's just a model. So with these thoughts, I leave you, perhaps to develop your own model and think about it. Whether you want to take it to deep geometrical, mathematical, philosophical arrangements is up to you. But remember that the mortal mind is limited, and whichsoever model you create will be useful if it works, but it is completely wrong at an absolute level. Thank you.